What's up? We got Supergirl Season 2, episode 10. We can be heroes. We can be heroes. Pokemon. Battle Dimensions Pokemon. Yeah. This episode, so, yeah, I had to get that joke out of the way. I had to get that We Can Be Heroes joke, Battle Dimension Pokemon out of the way, that joke. So this episode starts off with Mon-El and Kara basically training, and yeah, so she's like, hey Mon-El, now you're ready to become a superhero just like her. So then we see James, and he, as the Guardian, and he's talking to Winn, and Winn's like, oh, haven't you heard, James? Mon-El's has jumped out of superhero kindergarten and is now going into the real world as a superhero. And he's like, really, Mon-El, a superhero? And he's like, yeah, Kara's a vi. So then we see Livewire, and she's in jail. Nowhere to, no, they don't even she doesn't even mention how she teamed up with Silver Banshee at all. So she just mentions how she wants to fry Supergirl. Basically, she wants Supergirl as a dead corpse. And she keeps having them refer her as Livewire, and the therapist is like, no, your name is Leslie Willis. Livewire is basically something that you created in your deranged mind. So yeah, so then we see this guy, and he kills this guard, kills the guard, the guard's stabbed. So then a blonde-haired girl and a brown-haired girl and that guy, I think, used a taser to electrocute that psychiatrist to death. So basically, next day, Kara and the team, we see Alex and Maggie talking, and they're like, what's up? Kara kind of has Livewire kind of Kara's rival. So then Kara shows up and is like, hey, this is Livewire's fault. Livewire did all this. Livewire did all this, and she's like, what if Livewire is captured? And she's like, no, this is Livewire must have got those two people to work for her or something, because Kara doesn't listen to reason. So Kara doesn't listen to reason. So we see. So after the last episode. After the last episode, episode 7, Magan was captured by Jean for being a White Martian, but remember, she injected her White Martian blood into him, so now his blood is being turned into a White Martian. So basically, he doesn't care. He's just like, oh, I don't care. I want her to die like the White Martian scum that she is, because I talk like Batman, because every character that has a deep voice is kind of resembling Batman. Diggle does it, John does it. Why is the Arrowverse so obsessed with Batman? Yeah, why is the Arrowverse so obsessed with Batman of all characters? So So we get Mon-El in this weird. So Mon-El's super suit is basically just a black suit and some glasses. So yellow with yellow lenses. So they're fighting Livewire and her electrified guard guy, who has the same powers as her. and basically they fight. Boom, boom, boom. But then but she's like, hey, I want to help you. But she's like, no, help the people, help the guard. But that's when Guardian shows up, and James is seeing like Mono, seeing like Mono protect the cops instead of the civilians. And yeah, but then James gets defeated, and that's how Kara learns his secret identity. And she's like, James, and boy, is Kara pretty mad that everyone that knew about this except for her. And she's basically, and I gotta say, I gotta agree with Team James here. James's speech about, and Kara's like, oh, you can't stop me, but she's like, watch if I will. I'm like, Kara, you're not his mom. You can't stop him from doing what he likes. If James wants to be a superhero, that's what James wants to do. He basically, so she's like, everyone knew about this but her, and he's like, and Mono's like, I didn't know. I just thought he was some very good boss. I love Chris Woods. Mono's amazing. So yeah, so she's like, I'm bringing this over. He's like, don't be mad at her. Don't be mad at him. And he's like, don't be mad when I was the one that told him to do this. And yeah, so she's like, she's basically like, yeah, so she's like, you don't have powers, James. If you die, if you get hurt, that's it. You're done. You die. And he's like, you're not me and you're not Clark. And he's like, that's why I want to do it. I didn't want to be in your or Superman's shadow all the time, so that's why I became a superhero. So she's like, she basically like, you can't. He's like, you can't stop me, and she's like, watch if I can, and it's just like, yeah. Kara was even gonna tell James, was gonna tell Kara prior to this, but Kara just thought that, oh, I got Mon-El, I don't need anyone else, and I'm just like, Kara, he's talking about himself, not Mon-El. I know that it's before this, but I gotta mention it. So yeah, so it's revealed that this scientist dude is basically injecting. So yeah, so it's revealed that Livewire was captured by the blonde-haired guy in the black guard, and basically kidnapped and basically given her power to them by this scientist who basically wants to use her powers to create super soldier serums. That's basically his reason. He just wants to create super soldier serum. Huh? That's just random. That's just random. She's like, oh, Ivar's like, oh, it's copyright infringement. I will sue you. And then Carl later, when they went to the truth, Carl's like, oh, I was wrong. She even told Mon-El to do things. She even got mad at Mon-El. Kara's getting mad throughout the entire episode. I can't deal with mad Kara. I cannot deal with mad Kara. So, anyway, after that scene, Kara's like, oh, I was wrong. So yeah, so Supergirl's busy doing stuff, so James starts to say to her, and she's like, who? And he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Guardian. And then Mon-El shows up, and Mon-El gets taken down, Guardian gets taken down, so Mon-El saves, and she's like, pretty terrible suit. So yeah, so then Kara finally shows up, and yeah, so she basically talks him out of killing him. And she's like, hey, if you spare him, I will chase you after he's arrested. And she's like, okay, but next time, let's just be us. No boys. And she just zaps away. Yeah, so it's revealed that Magon was basically the whole Magon story was that Magon was basically just basically in a coma, basically in a Martian, like watching her family and friends die on Mars, and it's revealed that she saved a boy after he was going to be killed by the White Martians, but he was still scared of her. Okay, so I gotta say, we can be heroes. It's okay. It's like, for a very good episode of Livewire, it's Not like it didn't even. Livewire wasn't even the main antagonist. It was just this random scientist dude who basically wanted to use her powers to create super soldier serum, which comes out of nowhere. First, we're going to be Livewire as the antagonist until it's revealed that the science guy is, who basically turned those two inmates into Livewire like clones. I do not get it. I didn't get it. It was basically just like, oh, he was using them and turning them into Livewire like clones. They could have done better if Livewire was the antagonist like usual, but nah, it's not my favorite episode of Supergirl. It feels like filler. It feels like filler because last episode we had those two like guard people, which I didn't mention. Last episode we had two like people in black cloaks looking for Mon-El and disintegrate that science guy. But this episode just feels like, oh, the reveal of Guardian was cool, but Kara doesn't get, Kara doesn't get to tell James what he should do. Like her saying about how I can stop, like, watching try to stop you. I'm just like, Kara, you're his mom, you can't tell him what to do. But anyway, that was it for this episode of Supergirl. It was not that good. It was kind of boring. It was kind of the first boring episodes of Supergirl. Because the antagonist just flip-flopped. It was like, oh, we're led to believe Livewire was the antagonist until it really was just some science guy. So anyway, that was it for this video. And I'll see you next time for more Supergirl.